What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Next on Deck this week. We got Ryan back again for episode 10. Later, as you see in the title, we will have Coach Stephen Peoples, who coaches for Columbus State University. We're excited to have him on, and I know you guys are just waiting to hear Ryan's opinion on the Eagles situation. So we're going to be covering that one first. And then we got the Heisman. Just talk about how Devontae Smith, first receiver since 1991 to win the Heisman, so that's pretty cool. Then just happened today, which is Thursday, the Mets traded for Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco, so we'll go over that. And then we got our picks for the national championship, and we'll finish it off with some NFL playoff picks. But I'll probably put I don't know where I'm going to put the interview yet in the video. I might put it in the middle. Not really sure. Maybe I'll talk with Ryan about that. But yeah, well, for sure, we'll just get started off with the Eagles. People are saying that they tanked a little bit because they took Jalen Hurts out when they were only down by 6 points. And just for you guys that didn't know, in the game situation, they were playing the football team, and if the football team won, then they won the division and they were going to the playoffs. But if the football team lost, then the Giants would win the division and they would go to the playoffs. But the Eagles, if they lost, they would get the 6th pick, but if they won, they would get the 9th pick. So the Eagles are trying to be a little cheesy here and maybe, sneak or tank the game, and put it in Suffield to lock down that 6th pick. But Ryan, what was your kind of thoughts on the Suffield situation? Did you think Doug Peterson had a reason to do it?
Well, if there's one thing I stand by in life, it's that I hate the entire city of Philadelphia. So this was a good add-on as to why I hate all of them. But one thing I do have to credit the entire city for is that they all hate everyone that's not them very aggressively.
That's true.
So I think, although that, yes, the draft pick was probably a big part of why he did it, I think there was a good part of them that decided they hated the Giants that much. They wanted to give them no chance at making the playoffs.
No, I totally agree. And I remember when Chris Collinsworth, when he was, announcing that game, he imagine if the Cowboys would have won that game earlier, and if the conspiracy theories that would have went down if the Eagles tanked the game and didn't make the Cowboys win the division. I don't think Eagles fans would be as mad because as Eagles fans always tell me, they would rather have the Cowboys lose than the Eagles win. So. That's just kind of their rivalry, I guess. But Doug Peterson was quoted on saying that he was trying to win, but he wanted Suffield to get reps. As a head coach, if you're saying this, if you want a quarterback to get reps, you start him in the beginning of the game. You don't start your starting quarterback for the first 3 quarters and then just, Suffield needs some end of the season reps. This doesn't matter because we have like 4 wins, so we're just going to throw in Suffield. To get him more reps. I think it was just an excuse. It's the easiest excuse that Peterson could probably use to get out of it. I think he should be fired. I think there's a lot of great head coaching candidates out there, but some Eagles assistants are already quitting. They've already had 2 quit, and there's a lot of disagreement among the team. As you saw, like Jason Kelsey, Zach Ertz, and Carson Wentz were sitting, at the field after the game. So that kind of just shows you the actual whole situation and the effect it has on everybody. But did not like what the Eagles did, but I guess they have to do whatever they can to get Devonta Smith because that's who they should take, but they'll probably mess it up. But Speaking of Devonta Smith, he was the first wide receiver to win the Heisman since 1991. I was so happy that he won this because it's so cool to see non-quarterbacks win awards like this. I even made an Instagram post about the Heisman being rigged, and thankfully I was wrong because Mac Jones did not win, even though Trask had better stats. And I feel bad for Trask in a way because when you think about it, he might have got the Heisman taken away from him from his teammates because they decided to opt out of the bowl game. But Ryan, what do you think? Did Devonta Smith deserve the Heisman? You happy to see him win this, or do you think one of the quarterbacks should have taken it?
No, I'm definitely happy that he won it. I think I was really glad it happened because I don't think Mac Jones should have won it over Trevor Lawrence, but he probably would have just because Trevor Lawrence missed so many games.
Mhm.
So at that point, I was already kind of disappointed with the way it went. And it's always a good time when you're wrong about all of your opinions. So it was funny to see you be wrong about the quarterback thing. Yeah, no, it was really good to see him win that. He's definitely been a standout receiver. He's been doing really well. And it was about time we had a repeat in which the college people decide they don't like Clemson quarterbacks. I mean, Deshaun Watson lost the Heisman to Derrick Henry, so
Mhm.
it's good to
Yeah,
see that
yeah.
again.
Alabama position players will always beat Clemson quarterbacks for that Heisman. But actually, another follow-up question that I wanted to add. So, another Alabama receiver that's supposed to go in the first round. His name's Jalen Waddle. You may have heard of him. Do you think if Waddle wasn't hurt, do you think that Smith still would have won the Heisman and put up the same stats that he did, or do you think Waddle would have taken some of his stats away and maybe Najee Harris would have been one of the finalists for the Heisman instead of Devonta Smith?
Yeah, that would have been tough because I mean, obviously Devontae Smith would have still had the same skill level, but when you have two top tier receivers like that, you're gonna have to you're gonna share the ball. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. I think they both would have put up incredible stat lines, but because they'd had to split that stat line, it probably wouldn't have seemed as impressive.
Right, because Devonta Smith put up 1,641 yards and 20 touchdowns. That is insane. It's hard not to give a receiver the Heisman after those kind of stats, and especially with quarterbacks, not playing out of their minds like Aaron Rodgers is right now. But so Smith was very deserving of the award. I was very glad to see him win it. I think he'll do great things in the NFL. Hopefully, the Eagles will be smart and take him. I think Jalen Hurts is probably rooting for that too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the draft. But big news in baseball today as the Mets traded for Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco for pretty much nothing when you think about it. Um, Ryan, what's your thought on this trade? Did the Indians dump Lindor for too little? And what does this mean for the Mets? Does this make them the favorite to win the division?
I think it was a decent trade on both ends. I think for what they needed. I mean, like it seems weird to get rid of Lindor like that, just being such a high volume player. The
Mhm.
way the Indians have kind of created him since they drafted him, but they just didn't have the money to keep him around. And I think they picked up some good role players, some kind of people that maybe aren't like the greatest, but are going to be decent and can continue the Indians series. But I think it was a good on both ends. I don't think anyone really lost. I think it was definitely a really good pickup for the Mets for what they needed. I think
Mhm.
that's going to help them. I think there's a good chance they'll win the division now.
Yeah, I think the Mets stole Lindor from the Indians. I think they gave up. When you think about it, they gave up pretty much nothing. I mean, Andres Jimenez is a great prospect. He's only been in the big leagues for a little bit. He had 263 in the time he's been in there. So, um, you know, rookie seasons guys usually always get better. So he's still got time. But they also gave up Ahmed Rosario, who was their starting shortstop. So that makes sense to give him up for Lindor. And then they just gave up an outfielder and a pitcher. But I think this puts the Mets in the same category as the Braves, to be honest, because Lindor's statistically been the top or the best shortstop in the league in the past 5 years in every category. And the Mets are already making more moves this offseason by bringing in Trevor May, James McCann, and they're still in the field to get Springer. I don't know if they will. But with that core of like DeGrom, Syndergaard, Marcus Stroman's coming back this year. The Mets are going to be tough to beat, and they're going to give the Braves a run for their money. So we'll see what Lindor can do on the Mets, but I think the Mets stole. I think this is one of the best trades that the Mets have done for a while. I'm surprised that the Mets actually made a good move, and that usually doesn't happen with New York teams, but good to see that trade. But
Hey guys, I hope you've enjoyed the first part of the video with Ryan and I talking about the Eagles and the Heisman and the Mets. So now we got the interview with Coach Stephen Peoples. I was really excited to have him on. He was a great guest. I can't wait to have him on again. But he's got a lot of knowledgeable stuff to say as a college coach, and he kind of gives his insight on the James Harden drama and situation. So I know you guys want to hear a professional opinion about that. Oh, and after the interview, we'll Ryan and I will cover our national championship picks and our NFL playoff picks. But I think you guys will love this interview. Ryan was not able to be on the call because he had something with his sister's birthday. So hopefully we'll get him on next time for the next guest. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the interview, and or I know you guys will enjoy the interview. So enjoy.
So, Coach Steven, if you want to introduce yourself to the audience, just kind of, state, your job, where you're at, and just kind of your background a little bit.
All right, so my name is Coach Stephen Peoples. I'm one of the assistant coaches at Columbus State University here in Columbus, Georgia. I've been here for 3 years. I've been coaching basketball this is my 11th year, head coach for 8 years in high school down at Santa Rosa Christian School in Milton, Florida. I lived in the Pensacola area. And yeah, and so this is what I do. This is what I love, and I've been, loving basketball since I knew what a ball was. All right, but yeah.
Well, it's good to have you, Coach Steven. I know I'm excited to have you on, but the first question I got for you today is, what was the biggest effect COVID has had on your season? I know there's, a lot of rules and regulations with the NCAA, but what was kind of, the biggest thing you had to change, when you thought about coaching this year?
Biggest thing we had to change, I think, just how we do things with the guys. Just, usually you can just have practices at any time with any number of guys, and you go in whenever, and we didn't have that luxury this year. Now you can only have a certain number of guys in the gym. Now you can only come in at certain times, and that takes a toll, when guys want to get better, when guys want to work out, when they want to, you have to tell them, like, hey, we can't do it today, or we can't do it with this many. Some of you can't come, split times up. It's been a lot of It's been a lot of responsibility, just kind of making sure we follow the guidelines at NCAA, COVID testing. There's been a lot of that. It's had its setbacks. We were supposed to play Georgia in December. Didn't get a chance to do that. Like we just talked about before we started, Augusta, we were supposed to play them. Didn't happen due to, COVID. So it's had its effects. It really has on the program. But, every day we just look to get better and prepare ourselves for our next opportunity, which, fingers crossed, is on Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So how does coaching at Columbus State compare to, coaching in high schools? So like, what are the kind of the major differences with, like, your approach to coaching when it comes to the college level versus the high school level?
The biggest difference is preparation. Oddly enough, where I coached in high school, it was kind of like I coached at a smaller Christian school, and you had a certain number of teams you played, and you knew those teams. You knew kind of what they had, and so you prepared your team as opposed to preparing for the other team, because you kind of knew what they were going to do. College is not like that. Everybody works hard to switch up what they do. And so you may know a personnel of a team. You may know that, oh, this is a rugged team, or this is more of a freelance team, but you don't know what plays they're going to run. You don't know what's coming. And so you have to really scout and prepare, do your due diligence. And so, yeah, the college game, I found, it's a lot more specific. You can work on a player's jumper all day long, but do they know how to do a one dribble pull up? Do they know how to do can they dribble? You know what I'm saying? It's a lot more specific on the college level. So yeah, that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that too. Like, I ran D3 cross country my freshman year, and it was such a big difference from even. I know cross country is different, obviously, but just in the practice time and preparation, I did not expect. I was like, oh man, it's a D3 school. It's not going to be that bad. I'm gonna just be able to coast it, but nah, it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't anything like that. it just kind of all hit me. And, since I didn't really train enough, it just kind of hit with injuries. So yeah, I totally get, the extra preparation in college, and it's very important to the game, because, otherwise you're just not going to be able to do as well and perform to the level you want to
Well,
be at.
well, and it's funny too because every level up presents new challenges. In high school, everybody's kind of in high school. I mean, the best in the high school play, but you may have one or two superstars and everybody else is kind of there in a sense. In college, everybody on that floor was the best at their high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then so it's like, okay, well now there's no, you got the best of the best 10 people on the floor. And it's like you got to step your game up. And as coaches, we have to step our game up because we have to realize that.
Right.
So yeah, it definitely presents its challenges. It does.
Gotcha. So, what are your goals for the team going into a season like this? Do you set a certain number you want for wins? Do you go for a division championship, or do you just kind of just go with the motions and do as best as you can with the situation you have?
I mean, the last thing you said is definitely true. Like we're doing the best we can, but at the same time, we hold a certain precedent for ourselves, a certain goal for ourselves. We always want to win our conference, always want to be conference champions. That's always the goal. And we feel like with that goal in mind, the number of wins will take care of themselves if we're focused on that. Every night we're going to be the best team in the conference, and so if we do that, we're gonna, like this year we got 11 games, 10 now, but
Yeah.
we intend to be the best that we can at that time every night, and the end goal being the conference championship. And we had a high turnover this year. We lost 8 guys. We got 8 new players. We got new role players. The goal doesn't change. We want to be the best, and we want to walk out with a trophy and some nets around our neck.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, so you have a new kind of group of younger guys. Or you must be really excited to grow with that younger group, and hopefully they can kind of create chemistry together. So what's just kind of like the recruitment kind of process, or just thinking when you're recruiting certain players? Do you try to match up certain players with other players that might have a good chemistry with each other, or their skills can be compatible? Is that what you kind of look for? Or do you just kind of go for like, the best all around players?
It's a style. It's all about style and fit. And we are an up and down the floor kind of team. We like athletic guys, and that's what we look for. When we recruit. I mean, that's kind of what we're aiming for. As far as chemistry is very important, but at the same time, we feel like the culture we have here and the culture we've built here or building here is going to help the guys mesh together. We have a really great team this year. Guys who didn't necessarily know each other, but they're athletic guys. They can move the ball, run down the floor, make good plays offensively and defensively, and they gel together.
Right.
And that's, so we're looking for guys that fit our style. And then we feel like our culture, once they get in here, is going to take care of the rest.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's good. So, what are your, career goals? What is this all for? Is there, a certain place, you want to coach in the NBA, or, you just want to be a head coach at college? Where's your kind of career path going?
I love the college game. Always have. So the goal, if I don't want to sound ungrateful. Columbus State, Coach Moore has given me an amazing opportunity to kind of begin my college career. But I'm a young coach, so
Right.
coaching Division one day is definitely the goal. But I heard a great quote that said you should treat everywhere you are like the job you want. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so to me, I'm at Duke right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make the very best of where I am right now. Now, as far as what the in specific goal is, I'll kind of be a little funny, but a little true. I have a hat on right now for what I call my D1 team. But if I could ever be a head coach at this school right here, I tell you what, it'd be a wonderful day. It'd be a wonderful day. Love the University of Miami, huge fan. But definitely Division One is the end goal. But I want to make my other end goal is that at the end of my career, I want to make a mark wherever it is I am, and be able to, help whoever I'm with win. Here at Columbus State, I want to win. I want to, I want our name etched in stone, and then do that elsewhere. So, that would be the goal.
Yeah, that's always a good mindset to have, just kind of, putting in the work at, no matter what level you're at. Because, obviously you're not going to get to that, D1 coach at Miami unless you do put in the work at, the lower levels. So I do like that,
Exactly.
that quote you were saying. But you host a podcast called the Millennial Basketball Coach Podcast. I haven't, unfortunately, had a chance to take a listen yet, but what's kind of one piece of advice to give a young kid that, wants to be in the NBA? I know it's hard to pick one thing, but, what's just kind of one, I guess, general thing you always tell your guys or, young kids on your podcast?
For those who want to get to that level, I think it's important to realize that no journey is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can say, I want to play in the NBA. Okay, what does that mean? And I think a lot of kids get derailed because they didn't have the, Zion Williamson path of I was the best in the country and I only had to play 1 year and everybody knew who I was and saw who I was and boom, I'm in the league after 1 year. Not everybody gets that.
Right.
And so I think there's a revolution in a way going on around college hoops where you're starting to see better talent at lower levels. So you got Division One, great talent up there. But people are starting to see too, with the rules changing as well, that hey, there's some really good guys in Division Two.
Mm-hmm.
There's some really good guys in NAIA, Division Three, in junior colleges. I think what's his name, Duncan Robinson with the Heat, Division Three player.
Right. Yeah.
Ends up transferring to D1, and now he's with the Heat playing for championships.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
so my biggest advice to kids, especially now in this climate, is hey, you work on your game, and every night you go out there and show what you can do. And just because North Carolina or Kansas doesn't come calling right away isn't the end of the world. Another thing too is that, and I love the NBA. I'm not going to deter from them, but there's more than one way to be a pro.
Mm-hmm.
So you may not play in the NBA, but you may get an offer for a contract in Spain or in, Macedonia. We got one kid that played for us, Jose Horton, and he's playing overseas right now, and he's going out there scoring 20 plus points. We got another kid who just got an offer that played for us, who has an offer to play in Spain. So I mean, there's more than one way to play professionally. The NBA doesn't have to be the say all end all.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and that's a good point. And NBA teams, I feel like are kind of shifting more to looking into foreign teams more because, honestly, like even if you look at the top 10 guys in the draft, there were probably like 3 or 4 international guys that went top 10. So, it's a changing game. And I do, I love those comments. And it's kind of a new move because I know Jalen Green went to the G League instead of going to D1. So, there's always that too. So it's kind of cool just to see where the new top recruits are going, but I like the advice you gave. But more of a NBA question. I guess this is kind of the main headline in the NBA right now, but James Harden wants out of Houston. And so as a coach, would you trade for a guy like James Harden? I know that might be a dumb question because, he's James Harden and he puts up 35 a game, but because he's known for having, the toxic environment a little bit, with his, let's just say extracurricular activities, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of because he kind of batted heads with Westbrook. So is it worth trading for a guy like James Harden with knowing what you have to give up and, what you're going to have to deal with, outside of basketball? Is it worth trading for him, or does it really just depend on the team?
I think, to that last point, I think it depends on the team. And considering what he's been saying about where he wants to go, he wants to go to a top tier team, and I think you have to look at what's around you. So, you know, I'm just going to be specific. This will never happen.
Hmm.
But the Lakers, I think Harden would fit with the Lakers because he would have to change who he is
Right.
to win. Because you're not taking shots out of LeBron's hand. You're not taking shots out of Anthony Davis's hand, and he would fit the mold. If he goes to again, facetious the other way, New York Knicks, is that helping your team? Because he's just going to take all the shots.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think it's a fit. I think you have to understand as a coach what's around you and what you can put up with. Now, the NBA kind of gets a bad rap a little bit because the superstars kind of run the league in a way. If they're not happy, the coach probably isn't there
Right.
much longer. And so you have to know as a GM, like, okay, we talk about as a coach, would you trade for him if he can work with the players? But as a GM, you have to think about, can he work with the coach? Mike D'Antoni at Houston changed his whole system to fit James Harden. You might have to go to a place that does that. You might have to, or somebody's gonna have to change. And I think that's a conversation that, if I was a coach, I'd be like, look, like, this is a conversation we have to talk about to make sure if this is going to work or not. You either are going to change who you are a little bit, be more of a team guy, or I'm going to change who I am and change my system to fit you. One or the other. Something's got to happen. We can't have all these egos and expect for it to work. As far as the extracurricular activities, I tell you, I think if Harden committed to being a team guy, I don't think the extracurriculars would matter. And I think my favorite example of that is the Chicago Bulls and Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah,
You weren't.
like Phil Jackson basically told Dennis, as long as you're at practice and as long as you're grabbing rebounds on that floor, I don't care what happens. And that's kind of, I think that's what you kind of would have to do in this aspect as well.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And it's tough because James Harden is still putting up the same numbers. It's not like he's slacking or anything. I guess really the only difference is he's kind of getting a beer belly, but he's still dropping like 40 people. So it's still.
Hey, look, if you're weighing 300 pounds, you can drop 40 in the NBA. I'm not saying nothing to you. Give him the ball.
But honestly, like, I feel like, a top tier team isn't going to trade for Harden just because, like you said, they're probably going to have to change their system for him. And, especially because, like, he wanted to go to a team like the Nets. They're off to a slow start with, KD being in quarantine and, them not playing as well. But they will be, a top 3 seed in the East. And I don't see them changing their whole system just to fit James Harden, when they already have 2 superstars. That could take down LeBron. I hope they don't, because I always have a thing against KD. But we'll see. But so
right.
Coach, I wanted to ask, what's your favorite NBA team? I wasn't sure since you coached in Florida and now you're in Georgia. So what's your hometown team?
Well, I tell you what, if you check out my Instagram, Coach S. Peoples, you will see constant references to the Portland Trailblazers. And so they are my team. Okay. I've been a fan of them since I was probably a teenager. The only thing I was a fan of NBA wise before that was Michael Jordan, and so huge Blazers fan, huge Dame Lillard fan. And I just like the way he plays ball, I like the way CJ McCollum plays ball. I guess I'm a sucker for heartbreak because Portland's put me through a lot of heartbreak since I was a teenager. But yeah, so they're my team, and it was funny because I actually I run a contest, and it's just where I post a game. It's my game of the day, and people pick who they think are going to win on my Instagram. And I had the Lakers against the Trailblazers the other night, and I didn't think anything of it. I'm just putting the game of the day, and I look on there, and like 94% of people have picked the Lakers. And I was like, what? What are you guys on? LeBron doesn't play in the regular season. What are we talking about? It's so, I was messing with all my followers and be like, oh, you guys are gonna lose. And sure enough, the Blazers went in there and won, and I got to brag. It was nice. And then I had some people in my DMs after the game. It was like, hey, enjoy this, because come playoff time, we taking y'all down again. I was like, I know.
It was funny actually, because so I started this thing called Upset of the Week, where I like call one game of the next week for an upset, and that was actually the first game that I called was the Trailblazers beating the Lakers, and then they
Smart
upset them
pick.
that game.
Smart
I
pick.
honestly I only called the Trailblazers because LeBron was questionable for that game, and I was like, oh, the
Yeah.
Blazers got it easy without LeBron, but then they ended up beating them with LeBron, so I was like,
With
okay, I
LeBron
was like,
playing.
touche, but. Um, So, as a Blazers fan, what do you think they need to do to kind of put themselves in the championship tier? Because, they're always around that seventh, eighth seed in the West because, it's always hard to compete in the West. But, what do you think the Blazers need to do to, be up there with the Lakers?
I mean, get James Harden. Uh,
Would you trade CJ
no,
McCollum for him?
I wouldn't. I agree with Portland on that. But to broaden that point, I think they need one more guy. I think they need one more guy to get the pressure off Dame. I think, and this is way far-fetched, but a Giannis, with him still being up in the air. If the Sixers break down, you can get an Embiid. Like somebody that's gonna, right? Like somebody that's gonna take a lot of pressure off of Dame and it's going to put more pressure on their team. I mean, LeBron's got AD. He's got a lot of good role players. The Blazers have a lot of great role players, but, it's proven Dame and CJ just aren't going to come out of the West on their own. It's going to take one more guy.
Yeah,
I think that's
They just have, too much. It's just too much competition. Like it's hard for two guard when you have your two best players being guards facing a team like the Lakers with LeBron and AD, where they can just destroy you offensively with those guys. But
that's the
you
thing.
never
You have
know.
no one to guard him.
Yeah, it's true. But like, you never know. Paul George and I know he just signed an extension, but I think Kawhi's set to be a free agent here soon. So, if you guys picked him up, you'd definitely be, probably the favorites, honestly, in the West, I would think, if you got Kawhi.
I think that's what scares me about my theory, though. I think they're going to make us give up too much to get a guy like that. You know what I mean? I think they're going to say, okay, cool, but we're getting CJ, and a first round for the next 8 years. But, it's just, I think it's tough. But if we could pull off a Kawhi Leonard, I think that would help. That would help greatly. Like you said, we probably need to be the favorites or it's us and the Lakers,
Right, yeah. So just final question. I know you like playing 2K. I saw you play, or a couple videos on Instagram. Is the Trailblazers your favorite team to play on 2K, or you like to? Because I know you got to win with different tiers, or at least on the online head-to-head you do. So are the Trailblazers your favorite team to play with on 2K, or?
I tell you what, they are, or at least they were. And what
Okay.
I mean by that is 2K20, 2K, especially 2K20, we had Dame, CJ, we had Son Whiteside. Oh, just beautiful for 2K because Dame's got basically limitless range on him, limitless range badge on him. I can pull up from anywhere. And if he misses, I got a near 7-footer just standing there. They can just grab rebounds and put it back. CJ the same. So I love running with the Blazers. 2K21. It's tough. It's tough. I've played a few games with the Blazers, and I've come out really sad. But but I think for me in 2K21, I'm gonna say the Nets. I'm gonna say the Nets.
Okay, yeah, I feel that. KD basically can score anywhere, and
Exactly.
Kyrie's a great 3-point shooter. So I totally get that. I'm a Sixers guy myself. I'm a Sixers fan, so I love playing as the Sixers because just it's nice that we actually got shooters now, so that I can just drive with Ben Simmons and then just kick it out to Seth Curry or whoever. But
See, I think that's the problem with me in playing 2K now. Like when I was younger, I'd play 2K. I was a run and gun guy, everything like that. Now I'm a little too X's and O's. I coach too much. Now I'm playing 2K like, okay, I'm gonna set a side ball screen and come off it. If he rolls, I'm gonna hit. Like I think too much in 2K sometimes. But I tell you what, I love besides the online head to head, I love playing my team. And I'll do it sometimes. Oh yeah, and I'll do it sometimes on Twitch. I'll jump on there and play my team, and and just kind of build my squad. And so I was actually able to get a pink diamond Iverson the other night. So I was
Ooh, okay, that's
right. So
pretty nice.
I was pretty happy about that. But yeah, so I love doing that though. Love doing that.
Yeah, usually I play my team until like everybody's got, Galaxy Opal lineups, and it's just at that point if you don't have at least one, then you got no shot. So
Right.
then after that I just keep playing online, or play League or whatever. But those
Right.
are all the
Right.
questions I got for you, Coach. Thank you again for joining the show today, and I'd love to have you on again and talk some more basketball.
Hey, Dylan, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. And like I said, we definitely will do this again. This has been great.
Yes, for sure. I appreciate that, man. Good luck this year, and have a good night.
You too. You too. All right. Bye-bye.
Uh, the national championship is this Monday. Obviously, it is Alabama against Ohio State. Justin Fields played out of his mind against Clemson. Arguably made himself a couple $1 million just in that game. By moving up in the draft. But Ryan, who do you got for the national championship? Alabama versus Ohio State.
I think if Waddle plays, Alabama's going to take it. Ohio State doesn't have the secondary to be able to stop two top-tier receivers like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, realistically, neither team has solid defenses. I think it's just going to be a shootout. It's going to be who can not score, like what defense can stop once, and that's it. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
There's going to be so many points put up in this game. It's going to be disgusting. It's going to be a good game, though. I mean, Justin Fields, I don't think is going to be 100%, which is going to hurt Ohio State, and they might have to lean on their running game a bit, which is a good running game. It's not like that's a poor option. I don't know. I see Alabama taking it. I think there's just too much, especially if Waddle plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too. I think, again, like you said, I think it's going to be a battle of the offenses, especially because Clemson and Notre Dame both have better defenses than, both these teams. So I could see Fields putting up big numbers against Alabama if, he's healthy enough. But if he's not, the Alabama front seven's still pretty good. So they might have a tough time with the run. But Trey Sermon's been putting up the numbers, and, he might make himself be a first-round draft pick. But Alabama's overall offense is just better than Ohio State. They just got more weapons. So I think Alabama's going to take this one. I think Ohio State's going to give them a run for their money for a while, but I think Alabama will kind of break off in the fourth quarter, and, they'll win another national championship once again. So going into the NFL now, there's some big playoff games that we got this week. First up, we got 3 on Saturday. The first one is the Colts versus the Bills in Buffalo. Now, Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley are both questionable, and DeForest Buckner for the Colts is questionable. Ryan, who do you see taking the first dub in the playoffs this year?
I think the biggest thing that's going to decide that game is if Diggs plays or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Diggs plays, the Bills have it. Their offense is too explosive right now. Josh Allen and Diggs have just been – their chemistry has been insane. But if Diggs doesn't play, I think the Colts could overtake him there, because without Diggs, I mean, and especially if Beasley's also out, I mean, even if Beasley's in, he's not a star receiver. He's more of a like he's always going to be there, but he's never going to be big,
right,
kind of thing. So I think it just relies on Diggs playing or not.
Yeah, and especially because Beasley's more of a slot guy, he's not going to be as much of a game changer. I know Beasley has his big games, and, he's kind of broken out this year, but, they're going to need Diggs if they want to win this game. I mean, Josh Allen is playing out of his mind right now, and, at home in Buffalo with their defense, playing pretty healthy. I think the Bills will take this one, even if Diggs is out. It might be a little closer, but I mean, the Bills are just on a roll right now, so I don't see them losing to anybody right now, to be honest. So I think the Bills are gonna take this one either way. So the next game we got is Rams Seahawks. The Rams got Andrew Whitworth and Cooper Kupp coming back this week, as they were out last week, and Jared Goff is still questionable. He's probably not going to play, so they might have to get John Wolford suited up again against Seattle. So Ryan, who do you see taking this one in Seattle?
I think the Seahawks have it. Even if Goff comes back, I just don't see them being strong enough to stop the Seahawks. I mean, the Seahawks have been kind of hit or miss this season, but unlike last week, they can't just hurt the quarterback as easily. Kyler Murray, a little bit easier to hurt than Russell Wilson. So I don't think the Rams are going to be able to take this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the Rams defense is pretty solid. They'll put up a decent fight against the Seahawks, but the Rams offense is just, too poor, and they have not found their groove recently. Even with, they played better when John Wolford in than Goff the last couple weeks. So maybe they have a better chance. Wolford, I'm not really sure, but the Rams they're not going to be able to put them enough points to compete with the Seahawks. So I see the Seahawks taking this one at home. So then the final game of Saturday is we got the Buccaneers versus the football team. And the main injuries for this game are Mike Evans is questionable, and then Alex Smith, Antonio Gibson, and Terry McLaurin are questionable for the football team. But all three of them did play last week. So, chances are they'll probably play again, even injured. I think Alex Smith is going to play through whatever he has, considering what he's been through. But, Ryan, who do you see taking this game? Do you see Chase Young, pulling up on his word? And, is he going to get to Tom Brady, or do you think the Bucs are going to blow him out?
I think the Bucs are going to blow them out. I don't think the football team has the offense to be able to keep up with the Bucs offense. Even with Mike Evans out, they have such a strong receiving core. I love nothing more than watching Tom Brady get hit. So I hope so much that he just gets absolutely demolished every single play.
Oh, I know Chase Young's at least going to get one QB hit on there, for sure. He's just too talented not to, with the kind of determination he has. But I agree. I think the Bucs receivers are just too good for the football team secondary. They're not going to be able to hold up, and the Bucs defense is just too good. Their front seven against Antonio Gibson and the short routes. They're going to be able to stop the football team, and even with the football team at home, I don't think they'll take this one. So I see Tom Brady going to the next round. So now we got the Sunday games. Our first Sunday game is the Ravens versus the Titans, which we had a little preview of before. But Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams did not practice for the Ravens, and Marlon Humphrey is limited. So the Ravens defense is a little banged up. But Ryan, who do you see taking this? Do you see Derrick Henry plowing over the Ravens defense, or do you think Lamar Jackson can overtake him?
I think I've got the Ravens on this one. I think this is going to be a really good game. It's going to be one of the best games of the wild card weekend, I think. But Lamar Jackson and that offense of the Ravens have really just been doing well this second half of the season. They kind of caught their groove. They're hitting it in stride now. But I probably could have said the same thing last year, and we saw how that went. So
that's true. Well, I think if J.K. Dobbins can get the running game going so that Lamar Jackson can have a little more time in the pocket, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, I see the Ravens taking this one, just because Lamar Jackson has been so good in the red zone. And, I think he wants to show all the doubters what he's about in the playoffs, and, that he does, have stake in the NFL, and that he can be a top quarterback and carry his team. So I think the Ravens will take this one. As long as if Calais Campbell can play, that hopefully that will help stop Derrick Henry. But, there's no really stopping Derrick Henry. You just kind of contain him. So we'll see if the Ravens can do that on Sunday. But, the next game we got is Bears versus the Saints. Now, the Bears have a lot of injuries this week. Probably the last thing they need. Darnell Mooney, Cordell Patterson, and Roquan Smith, and Allen Robinson all did not practice. Ryan, I don't even know if I need to ask who's going to win this week, but who do you got, Bears and Saints?
it's going to be a cakewalk for the Saints, I think. I think it's just going to be
agree.
it's going to be like a little practice game for the second round or whatever.
Yeah, they might just throw Taysom Hill in and just be like, Drew Brees, just, we don't want you to get injured for the next playoff game. Just kind of hang out. But, yeah, I think the Saints take this one easy at home. And, this would be a perfect game, actually, to rest Michael Thomas, to be honest, because I don't know if he's supposed to come back for the playoffs at any point because I saw they put him on injured reserve. But hopefully he can come back because if he can't, I don't think the Saints have a shot against the Packers, especially with Jair Alexander. But so last playoff game we got is our Steelers against the Browns. Pull up the injury report. So the Browns, as you probably have heard, have gotten COVID, spread through their facilities. So their head coach is out. They got a couple O-linemen and some more coaches. The only guy for the Steelers that we got is Juju did not practice, which, kind of sucks, but it's a lot better than the Brown situation. Ryan, who do you see taking the last game in the first round?
I think the Steelers are going to win this one. I mean, the Browns put up a piss poor effort last week against our secondary team, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Juju's a big loss because we do have like a core receiving situation versus an all-star. But even if I think he'll probably play, and even if he doesn't, we still have some good receivers to fall back on. And the Browns are just, I don't know, they're not putting up great numbers right now.
No, I agree, and also I forgot to mention they also did lose Olivier Vernon last week when he got injured. So, with their second best pass rusher being out, that makes it way easier on Big Ben. And I just see the Steelers taking this one at home. I've seen a lot of people say that the Browns are going to upset them, but without their head coach, they're just not going to be the same team, I think. And with the COVID stuff. And their first time in the playoffs too, because Baker's never been there, and I feel like he's going to really feel the pressure even without the crowd. So I see the Steelers taking this one, and hopefully going to the second round. Hopefully we play the Colts, but I know we're going to have to play the Bills in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So that's everything I got. Ryan, do you want to talk about anything else?
I don't know. I mean, I'm really hoping that the Steelers beat the Browns really bad. So last couple of minutes we can put in Mason Rudolph just to say screw you to Myles Garrett.
That would be great. And you already know we're gonna hear all the excuses when we go back that the Browns got COVID, so that's the reason they lost to the Steelers. But I don't know. It's it'd be tough. It'd be tough for them to win without their head coach, but. We'll see. Hopefully I'm not wrong, but I think the Steelers just got too much motivation right now to, prove their doubters. So we'll see. But maybe if the Steelers lose, Ben, if he retires, then we just get Deshaun Watson because he's around the trading rumors. So that'd be pretty cool if we were able to get him. But obviously other teams have much more to offer. But yeah, so hopefully the Steelers can get this dub. I feel like this is kind of our last real shot at a Super Bowl for a while. Just because we don't know what's going to happen after Big Ben. Mason Rudolph played okay. He played pretty decent against the Browns last week. I was impressed. I honestly wasn't expecting that. So maybe we're good hands. I don't know, but I hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Coach Peoples. I'm hoping to have more guests on. So let me know. If you want to have a certain specialist in a sport on, or I might be able to get some college players on. So, just comment, let me know. And thanks for tuning in Next on Deck, and we'll see you next week.